Welcome to Brown Box Theater Project's 9th annual free Shakespeare production, Measure for Measure. At this time, please take a moment to silence all cell phones and noise-making devices. The use of flash photography is strictly prohibited. We would like to thank our sponsors, the Friends of Herder Park and the Department of Conservation and Recreation, for their support of this performance. We would also like to thank all of our individual donors, whose support makes free Shakespeare possible. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy the show.
Comes. I have purchased as many diseases under her roof as come to...
To what, I pray?
Judge.
Oh, thou art always figuring diseases in me, but thou art full of error. I am sound.
Nay, not as one would say healthy, but so sound as things that are hollow. Thy bones are hollow. Oh, impiety has made a feast of thee.
Well, there's one yonder arrested and carried to prison was worth 5,000 to you.
Who's that, I pray thee?
Marry, sir, that's Claudio. Signor Claudio.
What's he done?
A woman.
But what's his offense?
Groping for trouts in a peculiar river.
What? Is there maid with child by him? Claudio to prison. Art thou sure of this?
I am too sure of it. And it's for getting Madame Giulietta with child.
Believe me, that may be. He promised to meet me 2 hours since, and he was ever precise in promise-keeping. Away, let's go learn the truth of it.
Here comes Signor Claudio, led by the provost to prison. And there's Madame Juliette.
Fellow, why not so show me thus to the world? Bear me to prison where I am committed.
I do it not in evil disposition, but from Lord Angelo by special charge.
Thus may the demigod authority make us pay down for our offense by weight. The words of heaven, on whom it will, on whom it will not, so, yet still 'tis just.
Why, how now, Claudio? Whence comes this restraint?
From too much liberty, my Lucio. Liberty as surfeit is the father of much fast, so every scope by the immoderate use turns to restraint. Our natures do pursue like rats that raven down their proper bane, a thirsty evil. And when we drink, we die.
If I could speak so wisely under an arrest, I would send for certain of my creditors. And yet, to say the truth, I would as lief have the foppery of freedom as the mortality of imprisonment. What's thy offense, Claudio?
What but to speak of would offend again.
What, is't murder?
No.
Lechery?
Call it so.
Away, sir, you must go.
One more, good friend. Lucio, a word with you.
100, if they'll do you any good. Is lechery so looked after?
Thus stands it with me. Upon a true contract, I got possession of Giulietta's bed. You know the lady. She is fast my wife, save that we do the denunciation lack of outward order. This we came not to, only for propagation of a dowry, remaining in the coffer of her friends, from whom we thought it meet to hide our love, till time had made them for us. But it chances the stealth of our most mutual entertainment with character too gross is writ on Juliet.
With child, perhaps.
Unhappily, even so. And the new deputy, now for the Duke, whether it be the fault and glimpse of newness, or whether that the body public be a horse whereon the governor doth ride, who newly in the seat, that it may know he can command, lets it straight feel the spur. Whether the tyranny be in his place, or in his eminence that fills it up, I stagger in. But this new governor awakes me all the enrolled penalties which have, like unscoured armor, hung by the wall so long that 19 zodiacs have gone round, and none of them been worn, and for a name now puts the drowsy and neglected act freshly on me. Oh, 'tis surely for a name.
I warrant it is. Send after the Duke and appeal to him.
I have done so, but he's not to be found. I prithee, Lucio, do me this kind service. This day my sister should the cloister enter, and there receive her approbation. Acquaint her with the danger of my state. Implore her in my voice that she make friends to the strict deputy. Bid herself assay him. I have great hope in that.
I pray she may as well, for the encouragement of the like, which else should stand under grievous imposition. As for the enjoying of thy life, who I would be sorry should be thus foolishly lost to a game of tic-tac. I'll to her.
I thank you, good friend Lucio.
Within 2 hours.
Come, officer, away.
No, Holy Father, throw away that thought. Believe not that the dribbling dart of love can pierce a complete bosom. Why, I desire thee to give me secret harbor hath a purpose more grave and wrinkled than the aims and ends of burning youth.
May your grace speak of it.
My holy sir, none better know than you how I have ever loved the life removed, and held an idle price to haunt assembly where youth, cost, witless bravery keeps. I have delivered to Lord Angelo, a man of stricture and firm abstinence, my absolute place and power here in Vienna, and he supposes me travelled to Poland, for so I have strewn it in the common ear, and so it is received. Now, pious sir, you will demand of me why I do this?
Gladly, my lord.
We have strict statutes and most biting laws, which for these 14 years we have let slip, even like an o'ergrown lion in a cave that goes not out to feed. Now, as fond fathers, having bound up the threatening twigs of birch, only to stick it in their children's sight, for terror, not for use. In time, the rod becomes more mocked than feared. So our decrees, dead to infliction, to themselves are dead. And liberty plucks justice by the nose, the baby beats the nurse, and quite athwart goes all decorum.
It rested in your grace to unloose this tied-up justice when you pleased. And it in you more dreadful would have seemed than in Lord Angelo.
I do fear too dreadful, sith 'twas my fault to give the people scope. 'Twould be my tyranny to strike and gall them for what I bid them do. For we bid this be done when evil deeds have their permissive pass, and not their punishment. Therefore, indeed, my father, I have on Angelo imposed the office, who may in the ambush of my name strike home. And yet my nature never really in the fight to do so in slander. And to behold his sway I will, as to a brother of your order, visit both prince and people. Therefore I prithee, supply me with a habit, and instruct me how I may formally in person bear, like a true friar. The more reason for this at our leisure shall I render you. Only this, Lord Angelo is precise, stands at guard with envy, scarce confesses that his blood flows, that his appetite is more to bread than stone. Hence, shall we see if power changes purpose, what our seemers be?
And have your nuns no further privileges? Are not these large enough? Yes, truly. I speak not as desiring more, but rather wishing a more strict restraint upon the sisterhood. The votarists of St. Clair.
Oh, peace be in this place!
Is that which calls?
It is a man's voice. Gentle Isabella, turn your key and know his business of him. You may, I may not. You are yet unsworn. When you have vowed, you must not speak with men but in the presence of the prioress. Then if you speak, you must not show your face. Or if you show your face, you must not speak. He calls again. I pray you, answer him.
Peace and prosperity. Who is that which calls?
Hail, virgin! Can you so steed me as bring me to the sight of Isabella, novice of this place, and fair sister to her unhappy brother Claudio?
Why her unhappy brother? Let me ask the rather, for I now must make you know I am that Isabella and his sister.
Gentle and fair, your brother kindly greets you. Not to be weary with you, he's in prison.
Woe me for what?
For that of which myself might be his judge, he should receive his punishment and thanks. He hath got his friend with child.
Sir, make me not your story.
'Tis true, I would not, though 'tis my familiar sin with maids to seem the lapwing and to jest tongue, far from hard play with all virgins so. I hold you as a thing enskied and sainted by your renouncement, an immortal spirit to be talked with in sincerity, as with a saint.
You do blaspheme the good in mocking me.
Do not believe fewness in truth. 'Tis thus, your brother and his lover have embraced as those that feed grow full. As blossoming time that from the seedness the bare fellow brings to teeming foison, even so her plenteous womb expresseth his full tilth and husbandry.
Someone with child by him. My cousin Juliet.
She it is.
Let him marry her.
This is the point. The Duke is very strangely gone from hence. Poor many gentlemen, myself being one, in hand in hope of action. But we do learn from those that know the very nerves of state, his giving out were of an infinite distance from his true meant design. Upon his place, and with full light of his authority, governs Lord Angelo, a man whose blood is very snow broth, who never feels the wanton stings and motions of the sense, but doth rebate and dull his natural edge with profits of the mind. Study and fast, he hath picked out an act under whose heavy sense your brother's life falls into forfeit. He arrests him on it and follows close the rigor of the statute to make him an example. All hope is gone unless you have the grace by your fair prayer to soften Angelo. And that's my pith of business twixt you and your poor brother.
Doth he so seek his life?
Has censured him already, and as I hear, the provost hath a warrant for his execution.
Alas, what poor abilities in me to do him good!
Say the power that you have.
My power, alas, I doubt.
Our doubts are traitors, and makes us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. But go to Lord Angelo, let him learn to know when maidens sue men give like gods. But when they weep and kneel, all their petitions are as freely theirs as they themselves would owe them.
I'll see what I can do.
But speedily.
I will about it straight, no longer staying but to give the mother notice of my affair. I humbly thank you. Commend me to my brother. Soon at night I'll send him certain word of my success.
I take my leave of you.
Good sir, adieu.
We must not make a scarecrow of the law, setting it up to fear the birds of prey, and let it keep one shape till custom make it their perch, and not their terror.
Aye, but yet let us be keen, and rather cut a little than fall and bruise to death. Alas, this gentleman whom I would save had a most noble father. Let but your honor know that in the workings of your own affections, had time cohort with place, or place with wishing, or that the resolute acting of your blood could have attained the effect of your own purpose. Or whether you would not sometime in your life erred in this point which now you censure him and put the law upon you.
'Tis one thing to be tempted, Aeschylus, another thing to fall. I not deny the jury, passing on the prisoner's life, may in the sworn 12 have a thief or two guiltier than him they try. What's open made to justice, that justice seizes. What knows the laws that thieves do pass on thieves? 'Tis very pregnant, the jewel that we find, we stoop and take't, because we see it. But what we do not see, we tread upon, and never think of it. You may not so extenuate his offense, for I have had such faults, but rather tell me, when I that censure him do so offend. Let mine own judgment pattern out my death, and nothing come impartial. Sir, he must die.
Be it as your wisdom will.
Where is the provost?
Here, if it like your honor.
See that Claudio be executed by 9 tomorrow morning. Bring him his confessor and let him be prepared, for that's the utmost of his pilgrimage. Now what's the matter, provost?
Claudio shall die tomorrow.
Did I not tell thee, yea? Hadst thou not order? Why dost thou ask again?
Lest I might be too rash. Under your good correction, I have seen when after execution judgment hath repented or his doom.
Go to, let that be mine. Do you your office, or give up your place, and you shall well be spared.
I crave your honor's pardon. What shall be done, sir, with the groaning Juliet? She's very near her hour.
Dispose of her to some more fitter place, and that with speed.
Here is the sister of the man condemned desires access to you.
Hath he a sister?
Aye, my good lord, a very virtuous maid, and to be shortly of a sisterhood, if not already.
Well, let her be admitted. See you, the fornicatress, to be removed. Let her have needful, but not lavish means. There shall be order for it.
Save your honor.
You're welcome. What's your will?
There is a vice that I most do abhor, and most desire should meet the blow of justice, for which I would not plead, but that I must, for which I must not plead, but that I am. At war twixt will and wilt not.
Well, the matter?
I have a brother is condemned to die. Do beseech you, let it be his fault, and not my brother.
Condemn the fault, and not the actor of it. Why, every fault's condemned ere it be done. Mine were the very cipher of a function, to find the faults whose fine stands in record, and let go by the actor.
Oh, just but severe law. I had a brother then. Heaven keep your honor.
Oh, give not or so. To him again, entreat him, kneel before him, hang upon his gown. You are too cold.
Must he needs die?
Maiden, no remedy.
Yes, I do think you might pardon him, and neither heaven nor man would grieve at the mercy of it.
I will not do it.
But can you if you would?
Look what I will not, that I cannot do.
But might you do it, and do the world no wrong, if so your heart were touched with that same remorse as mine is to him?
He's sentenced, 'tis too late.
Too late? Why now I that do speak a word may call it back again. Well, believe this. No ceremony that to great ones longs, not the king's crown, nor the deputed sword, the marshal's truncheon, nor the judge's robe, become them with one half so good a grace as mercy does. If you had been as he, and he as you, you would have slipped like him. But he, like you, would not have been so stern.
Pray you be gone.
I would to heaven I had your potency, and you were Isabel. Should it then be thus? No, I would tell what 'twere to be a judge and what a prisoner.
Your brother is a forfeit of the law, and you but waste your words.
Alas, alas, why all the souls were forfeit once, and he that might the vantage best have took found out the remedy. How would you be if he, which is the top of judgment, should but judge you as you are? Think on that, and mercy then will breathe within your lips like man new made.
Be you content, fair maid. It is the law, not I, condemn your brother. Were he my kinsman, brother, or my son, it should be thus with him. He must die tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Oh, that's sudden. Spare him. Spare him. He's not prepared for death. Even for our kitchens, we killed a fowl of season. Shall we then serve heaven with less respect than we do minister to our gross selves? Good, good, my lord, bethink you. Who is it hath died for this offense? There's many have committed it.
The law hath not been dead, though it hath slept. Those many had not dared to do that evil if the first that did the edict infringe had answered for his deed. Now, 'tis awake, takes note of what is done, and like a prophet looks in a glass that shows what future evils, either now or by reminiscence new conceived, and so in progress to be hatched and born, are now to have no successive degrees, but here they live to end.
Yet show some pity!
I show it most of all when I show justice. Be satisfied. Your brother dies tomorrow. Be content.
So you must be the first that gives the sentence, and he that suffers. Oh, it is excellent to have a giant's strength, but it is tyrannous to use it like a giant. Could great men thunder as Jove himself does? Jove would never be quiet, for every pelting petty officer would use his heaven for thunder, nothing but thunder. But man, proud man, dressed in a little brief authority, most ignorant of what he's most assured, plays such fantastic tricks before high heaven as would make the angels weep, who with our spleens would all themselves laugh mortal.
Why do you put these sayings upon me?
Because authority, though it err like others, hath the kind of medicine in itself that skins the vice o'er the top. Go to your bosom, knock there, and ask your heart what it doth know that's like my brother's fault. If it confess a natural guiltiness such as is his, let it not sound a thought upon your tongue against my brother's life.
Fare you well.
Gentle my lord, turn back.
I will bethink me, come again tomorrow.
Hark how I'll bribe you. Good, my lord, turn back.
How? Bribe me?
Aye, with such gifts that heaven shall share with you. Not with fond sickles of the tested gold, or stones whose rate are either rich or poor as fancy values them, but with prayers, true prayers that shall be up at heaven and enter there ere sunrise. Prayers from preserved souls, from fasting maids whose minds are dedicate to nothing temporal.
Well, come to me tomorrow.
Go to, 'tis well, away.
Heaven keep your honor safe.
Amen. For I am that way going to temptation, where prayers cross.
At what hour tomorrow shall I attend your lordship?
Any time forenoon.
Save your honor.
From thee, even from thy virtue. What's this? What's this? Is this her fault or mine? The tempter or the tempted who sins most? Not she, nor doth she tempt, but it is I, that lie the violet in the sun do as the carrion does, not as the flower, corrupt with virtuous season. Can it be that modesty may more betray our sense than woman's lightness? Having wasted ground enough, shall we desire to raise the sanctuary and pitch our evils there? Oh, fie! Fie! Fie. What dost thou, or what art thou, Angelo? Dost thou desire her foully for those things that make her good? Oh, let her brother live. Thieves for their robbery have authority when judges steal themselves. What? Do I love her? That I desire to hear her speak again and feast upon her eyes? What is't I dream on? Oh, cunning enemy, that to catch a saint with saints dost bait thy hook. Most dangerous is that temptation that doth goad us on to sin in loving virtue. Never could the strumpet, with all her double vigor, art, and nature, once stir my temper, but this, virtuous maid, subdues me quite. Ever till now, when men were fond, I smiled and wondered how.
Hail to you, Provost, so I think you are.
I am the Provost. What's your will, good friar?
Bound by my charity and my blessed order, come I to visit the afflicted spirits here in the prison. Do me the common right and let me see them, and make me know the nature of their crimes, that I may minister accordingly.
I would do more than that if more were needful. Look, here is one, a gentlewoman of mine, who, falling in the flaws of her own youth, hath blistered her report. She is with child, and he that got it sentenced. A young man more fit to do another such offense than die for this.
When must he die?
As I do think tomorrow. I have provided for you. Stay a while and you shall be conducted.
Repent you, fair one, of the sin you carry.
I do, and bear the shame most patiently.
I'll teach you how you shall arraign your conscience, and try your penitence if it be sound or hollowly put on.
I'll gladly learn.
Love you the man who wronged you?
Yes, as I love the woman that wronged him.
So that it seems your most offenseful act was mutually committed.
Mutually.
Then was your sin of heavier kind than his?
I do confess it and repent it, father.
'Tis meet so, daughter, but lest you do repent, as that the sin hath brought you to this shame, which sorrow is always towards ourselves, not towards heaven, showing that we would not spare heaven as we love it, but as we stand in fear.
I do repent me as it is an evil, and take the shame with joy.
There, rest. Your partner, I hear, must die tomorrow, and I am going with instruction to him. Grace go with you, benedicite.
Must die tomorrow. Oh, injurious love, that respites me a life, whose very comfort is still a dying horror.
'Tis pity of him.
When I would pray and think, and I think and pray to several subjects. Heaven hath my empty words, whilst my invention, hearing not my tongue, anchors on Isabel. Heaven in my mouth, as if I did but only chew his name, and in my heart the strong and swelling evil of my conception. The state whereon I studied is like a good thing, being often read, grown feared and tedious. Yea, my gravity, wherein let no man hear me, I take pride, could I with boot change for an idle plume which the air beats for vain. Oh, place, oh, form, how often dost thou, with thy case, thy habit, wrench all from fools, and tie the wiser souls to thy false seeming. Blood, thou art blood. Let's write good angel on the devil's horn, 'tis not the devil's crest. How now, who's there?
One Isabella's sister desires access to you.
Teach her the way. Oh, heavens, why does my blood thus muster to my heart, making it both for itself unable and dispossessing all my other parts of necessary fitness?
I am come to know your pleasure.
That you might know it would much better please me than to demand what 'tis. Your brother cannot live.
Even so, heaven keep your honor.
Yet, may he live a while, and it may as long as you or I. Yet he must die.
Under your sentence.
Yea.
When? I beseech you, then in his reprieve, longer or shorter, he may be so fitted that his soul sicken not.
Fie, these filthy vices. It were as good to pardon him that hath from nature stolen a man already made, as to remit their saucy sweetness that do coin heaven's image in stamps that are forbid. 'Tis all as easy falsely to take away a life true made, as to put metal in restrained means to make a false one.
'Tis set down so in heaven, but not in earth.
Say you so? Then I shall pose you quickly. Which had you rather? That the most just law now took your brother's life, and to redeem him, give up your body to such sweet uncleanness as she that he hath stained?
Sir, believe this, I had rather give my body than my soul.
I talk not of your soul. Or compelled sin stand more for number than for account.
How say you?
Nay, I'll not warrant that, for I can speak against the thing I say. Answer to this. I, now the voice of the recorded law, pronounce a sentence on your brother's life. Might there not be a charity in sin to save this brother's life?
Please you to do it. I'll take it as peril to my soul. It is no sin at all, but charity.
Pleased you to do't at peril of your soul were equal poise of sin and charity.
That I do beg his life. If it be sin, heaven let me bear it. You granting of my suit, if that be sin, I'll make it my morn prayer to have it added to the faults of mine, and nothing of your answer.
Nay, but hear me, your sense pursues not mine. Either you are ignorant or seem so crafty, and that's not good.
Let me be ignorant, and in nothing good, but graciously to know I am no better.
Thus wisdom wishes to appear most bright when it doth tax itself, as these black masks proclaim an enshielded beauty 10 times louder than beauty could displayed. But mark me, to be received plain, I'll speak more gross. Your brother is to die.
So?
And his offense is so, as it appears, accountant to the law upon that pain.
True.
Admit no other way to save his life, as I subscribe not that nor any other, but in the loss of question, that you, his sister, finding yourself desired of such a person whose credit with the judge, or own great place, could fetch your brother from the manacles of the all-building law, and that there were no earthly mean to save him, but that either you must lay down the treasures of your body to this supposed, or else to let him suffer. What would you do?
As much for my poor brother as myself. That is, were I under the terms of death, the impression of keen whips I'd wear as rubies, and strip myself to death as to a bed longing had been sick for, ere I'd yield my body up to shame.
Then must your brother die.
And 'twere the cheaper option. Better it were a brother died at once than that a sister, by redeeming him, should die forever.
Were not you then as cruel as the sentence that you have slandered, sir?
Ignominy and ransom and free pardon are of 2 houses. Lawful mercy is nothing kin to foul redemption.
You seemed of late to make the law a tyrant, and rather prove the sliding of your brother a merriment than a vice.
Pardon me, my lord. It oft falls out to have what we would have, we say not what we mean. I've something to excuse the thing I hate for his advantage that I dearly love.
We are all frail.
Else let my brother die. If not a fettery, but only he, Owen, succeed with thy weakness.
Nay, women are frail too.
Aye, as the glasses in which they view themselves, which are as easy broke as they make forms. Women help heaven, men their creation mar in profiting by them. They call us 10 times frail, for we are as soft as our complexions are, and credulous to false prints.
I think it well. And from this testimony of your own sex, since I suppose we are made to be no stronger than faults may shake our frames, let me be bold. I do arrest your words. Be that you are, that is a woman. If you be more, you're none. If you be one, as you are well expressed by all external warrants, show it now by putting on the destined livery.
I have no tongue but one. Gentle my lord, I entreat you speak the former language.
Plainly conceive I love you.
My brother did love Juliet, and you tell me he must die for it.
He shall not, Isabel, if you give me love.
I know your virtue hath a license in it that seems a little fouler than it is to pluck on others.
Believe me on mine honor, my words express my purpose.
Little honor to be much believed, and most pernicious purpose. Seeming, I will proclaim the Angelo, look for it! Sign me a present pardon for my brother, or I will with an outstretched throat tell the world aloud what a man thou art.
Who will believe thee, Isabel? My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life, my vouch against you, and my place in the state will show your accusation or way, that you shall stifle in your own report and smell of calumny. I have begun. And now I give my sensual race the rein. Fit thy consent to my sharp appetite. Lay by all nicety and prolicious blushes that banish what they sue for. Redeem thy brother by yielding up thy body to my will. Or else he must not only die the death, but thy unkindness shall his death draw out to lingering sufferance. Answer me tomorrow, or by the affection that now guides me most, I'll prove a tyrant to him. As for you, say what you can, my false or ways your true.
To whom should I complain? Did I tell this? Who would believe me? Oh, perilous mouths that bear in them one and the self-same tongue, either of condemnation or of proof, bidding the law make curtsy to their will, hawking both right and wrong to the appetite to follow as it draws. I'll to my brother. Though he hath fallen by prompture of the blood, yet hath he in him such a mind of honor, that had he 20 heads to tender down on 20 bloody blocks, he'd yield them up before his sister should her body stoop to such abhorred pollution. Then Isabella lived chaste, and brother die. More than our brother is our chastity. I'll tell him yet of Angelo's request, and fit his mind to death for his soul's rest.
So then you hope of pardon from Lord Angelo?
The miserable have no other medicine but only hope. I've hoped to live, and am prepared to die.
Be absolute for death, either death or life shall thereby be the sweeter. Reason thus with life. If I do lose thee, I lose but a thing that none but fools would keep. A breath thou art, servile to all the sky influences that dost this habitation where thou keepst hourly afflict. Merely thou art death's fool. Thou laborest for him in thy flight to shun, yet runs towards him still. What's yet in this that bears the name of life? Yet in this life lie hid more thousand deaths, yet death we fear, that makes these odds all even.
I humbly thank you. To sue to live, I find I seek to die. And seeking death, find life. Let it come on.
What ho, peace here, grace and good company. Who's there?
Come in. The wish deserves a welcome.
Dear sir, ere long I'll visit you again.
Most holy sir, I thank you.
My business is a word or two with Claudio.
Very welcome. Look, senor. Here's your sister.
Provost, a word with you?
As many as you please.
Bring me to hear them speak, where I may be concealed.
Now, sister, what's the comfort?
lives all comforts are. Most good. Most good indeed. Lord Angelo, having affairs to heaven, intends you for his swift ambassador, where you shall be an everlasting leisure. Therefore your best appointment make with speed. Tomorrow you set on.
Is there no remedy?
None, but such a remedy is to save a head to cleave a heart in twain.
But is there any?
Yes. Brother, you may live. There is a devilish mercy in the judge. If you'll implore it, that will free your life, but fetter you till death.
Perpetual durance.
Aye, just perpetual durance. Though all the world's vastity you had to a determined scope.
But in what nature?
In such a nature as you consenting to it would bark your honor from the trunk you bear and leave you naked.
Let me know the point.
I do fear thee, Claudio. And I quake, lest thou a feverish life should entertain, and 6 or 7 winters more respect than a perpetual honor. Darest thou die? The sense of death is most in apprehension, and the poor beetle that we tread upon in corporal sufferance finds a pang as great as when a giant dies.
Why give you me this shame? Think you I can a resolution fetch from flowery tenderness? If I must die, I will encounter darkness as a bride, and hug it in mine arms.
There spake my brother. There my father's grave did utter forth a voice. Yes, Claudio, thou must die. Thou art too noble to conserve a life in base appliances. This outward sainted deputy, whose settled visage and deliberate word nips youth in the head and follies doth anew as falcon doth the fowl, is yet a devil. His filth within being cast would appear a pond as deep as hell.
The frenzy, Angelo.
'Tis the cunning livery of hell, the damnedest body to invest and cover in frenzy guards. Dost thou think, if I would yield him my virginity, thou mightst be freed?
Oh heavens, it cannot be.
Yes, he would give it to thee from this rank offense, so to offend him still. This night's the time. I must do what I abhor to name, or else thou diest tomorrow.
Thou shalt not do it.
Were it but my life, I'd throw it down for your deliverance as frankly as a pin.
Dear Isabella.
Be ready, Claudio, for your death tomorrow.
Yes. Has he affections in him that thus can make him bite the law by the nose when he would force it? Sure, it is no sin, or of the deadly 7 it is the least.
Which is the least?
If it were damnable, he being so wise, why would he for the momentary trick be perdurably fined? Oh, Isabel.
What says my brother?
Death is a fearful thing.
And shamed life a hateful.
Aye, but to die, and go we know not where, to lie in cold obstruction and to rot. This sensible warm motion to become a kneaded clod, and the delighted spirit to bathe in fiery floods, or to reside in thrilling region of thick-ribbed ice, to be imprisoned in the viewless winds, and blown with restless violence round about the pendant world, or to be worst than worst of those that lawless and uncertain thought imagine howling. 'Tis too horrible. The weariest and most loathed worldly life that age, ache, perjury, and imprisonment can lay on nature is a paradise to what we fear of death.
Alas, alas!
Sweet sister, let me live. What sin you do to save a brother's life, nature dispenses with the deed so far that it becomes a virtue.
Oh, you beast! Oh, faithless coward! Oh, dishonest wretch! Wilt thou be made a man out of my vice? Is it not a kind of incest to take a life out of thine own sister's shame? What should I think? Heaven shield, my mother played my father fair, for such a warped slip of wilderness ne'er issued from his blood. Take my defiance. Die. Perish might but my bending down reprieve thee from thy fate, it should proceed. I'll pray 1,000 prayers for thy death, no word to save thee.
Hey, hear me, Isabel.
No, fie! 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 Thy sin's not accidental, but a trade. Mercy to thee would prove a bawd. 'Tis best thou diest quickly.
Oh, hear me, Isabella!
Vouchsafe a word, young sister. But one word.
What is your will?
The hand that hath made you fair hath made you good. The goodness that is cheap in beauty makes beauty brief in goodness. But grace, being the soul of your complexion, shall keep the body of it ever fair. The assault that Angelo hath made to you, fortune hath conveyed to my understanding. And but that frailty hath example for his falling, I should wonder at Angelo. How will you do to content this substitute and save your brother?
I am going now to resolve him. I had rather my brother die by the law than that my son should be unlawfully born. But oh, how much is the good Duke deceived in Angelo! If ever he should return and I can speak to him, I'll open my lips in vain or discover his government.
That shall not be much amiss. Yet, as the matter now stands, he will avoid your accusation. He made trial of you only. Therefore fasten your ear unto my advisings. In the love I have of doing good, a remedy presents itself. I do make myself believe that you may most uprighteously to a poor wronged maid a merited benefit, redeem your brother from the angry law, do no stain unto your own gracious soul, and greatly please the Duke, if peradventure he shall ever return to have hearing of this business.
Let me hear you speak further. I have spirit in me to do anything that appears not found in the truth of my spirit.
Virtue is bold, and goodness never fearful. Tell me, have you not heard speak of Mariana, sister of the great soldier Frederick, buried at sea?
I have heard of the lady, and good words went with her name.
She should this Angelo have married, was affianced to her oath, and the nuptials appointed. Between which time of the contract and limit of the solemnity, her brother Frederick was racked at sea. In that perished vessel the dowry of his sister. But mark how heavily this befell the poor gentlewoman. There she lost not only a noble and renowned brother in his love for her ever most kind and natural, with him the portion and sinew of her fortune, her marriage dowry, with both her competent husband, this well-seeming Angelo.
Can this be so? Did Angelo so leave her?
Left her in her tears, and dried not one of them with his comfort. Swallowed his vows whole, pretending in her discoveries of dishonor.
What a merit were it in death that it should take this poor maid from the world. What corruption in this life that it should let this man live. But how out of this can she avail?
It is a rupture that you may easily heal. And the cure of it not only saves your brother, but keeps you from dishonor in doing it.
Show me how, good father.
This forementioned maid hath in her the continuance of her first affection. His unjust unkindness, which in all reason should have quenched her love, hath like an impediment in the current only made it more violent and unruly. Go you to Angelo. Answer his requirings with a plausible obedience. Agree with his demands to a point, only refer yourself to this advantage first, that your stay with him shall not be long, that the time will have all shadow and silence in it, and that the place answer to convenience. This being granted in course, and now follows all. We shall advise this wronged maid to steed up your appointment. Go in your place. If the encounter acknowledge itself hereafter, it may compel him to her recompense. And here, by this, your brother saved, your honor untainted, the poor Mariana advantaged, and the corrupt deputy scaled. The maid will I frame and make fit for his attempt. If you think it well to carry this as you may, the doubleness of the benefit defends deceit from reproof. What think you of it?
The image of it brings me content already, and I trust it will grow to a most prosperous perfection.
It lies much in your holdings up. Haste you speedily to Angelo. If for this night he entreats you to his bed, give him promise of satisfaction. I will presently to St. Luke's. There at the moated grange resides this dejected Mariana. At that place call upon me, and dispatch with Angelo that it may be quickly.
I thank you for this comfort. Fare you well, good father.
Bless you, friar.
And you?
What news, friar, of the Duke?
I know none. Can you tell me of any?
Some say he's with the Emperor of Russia, others some he's in Rome. But where is he, think you?
I know not where, but wheresoever I wish him well.
It was a mad, fantastical trick of him to steal from the state and usurp the beggary he was never born to. Lord Angelo dukes it well in his absence, puts transgression to it.
He does well in it.
A little more lenity and lechery would do no harm in him. Something too crabbed that way, friar.
It is too general a vice, and severity must cure it.
Yes, in good sooth, the vice is of a great kindred. It is well allied, but it is impossible to extirp it quite. friar, till eating and drinking be put down. They say this Angelo was never made by man nor woman after this downright way of creation. Is it true, think you?
How should he be made then?
Some report a sea maid spawned him. Some that he was begot between two stockfish. But it is certain, when he makes water, his urine is congealed ice. That I know to be true. And he's a motion generative. That is infallible.
You are a pleasant sir, and speak apace.
Why, what a ruthless thing is this in him for the rebellion of a codpiece to take away the life of a man? Would the Duke that were absent have done this? Or he would have hanged a man for the getting 100 bastards. He would have paid for the nursing 1,000. He had some feeling of the sport. He knew the service, and that instructed him to mercy.
I never heard the absent Duke was much detected for women. He was not inclined that way.
Oh, sir, you are deceived.
'Tis not possible.
Who? Not the Duke? Oh, yes, your beggar of 50, and his use was to put a ducat in her clack dish. He would be drunk too, that let me inform you.
You do him wrong, surely.
Sir, I was an inward of his. A shy fellow was the Duke, and I believe I know the cause of his withdrawing.
What, I prithee, might be the cause?
Nay, pardon! 'Tis a secret must be locked between the teeth and the lips. But this I can let you understand, the greater file of the subject held the Duke to be wise.
Wise, but by no question that he was.
A very superficial, ignorant, unweighing fellow.
Either this is envy in you, folly, or mistaking. The very stream of his life and the business he hath helmed shall upon a warranted need give him a better proclamation. Therefore let him be but testimonied in his own bringings forth, and he shall appear to the envious, a scholar, a statesman, and a soldier. Therefore you speak unskillfully, or if your knowledge be more, it is much darkened in your malice.
Sir, I know him, and I love him.
Love speaks with better knowledge, and knowledge with dear love.
Come, sir, I know what I know.
I can hardly believe that, since you know not what you speak. But if the Duke is to ever return, as our prayers are he may, let me desire you to make your answer before him. If it be true what you have spoken, you have courage to maintain it, I am bound to call upon you. And I pray you, sir, your name?
Sir, my name is Lucio, well known to the Duke.
He shall know you better, sir, if I live to report you.
I fear you not.
Oh, you then hope the Duke will return no more, or you imagine me too unhurtful and opposite.
Shh, come, sir, no more of this. Canst thou tell me if Claudio die tomorrow or no?
Why must he die?
Why? For filling a bottle with a tun dish. Why would the Duke we talk of were returned again? This ungendered agent will unpeople the province with continency. Sparrows must not build in his house eaves because they are lecherous. The Duke would yet have dark deeds, darkly answered. He would never bring them to light, would he were returned. Marry, this Claudio is condemned for untrusting. Farewell, good friar. I prithee pray for me, for the Duke, I say to thee again, would eat mutton on Fridays. Say that I said so. Farewell.
No might, nor greatness and mortality can censor scape. Back wounding calumny, the whitest virtue strikes. What king so strong can tie the gall up with the slanderous tongue?
cry you mercy, sir, and well could wish you had not found me here so musical. Let me excuse me, and believe me so, my mirth it much displeased, but pleased my woe.
'Tis good. Though music oft hath such charm to make bad good and good provoke to harm. I pray you tell me, hath anybody inquired for me here today, much upon this place I promised here to meet?
You have not been inquired after. I have sat here all day.
I do constantly believe you. The time has come even now. I crave your forbearance a little. I shall call upon you anon for some advantage to yourself.
I am always bound to you.
Very well met and welcome, gentle daughter. What's the news from this good deputy?
He hath a garden circummured with brick, whose western side is with a vineyard backed. There have I made my promise upon the heavy middle of night to call upon him.
But shall you on your advantage find this way?
I have taken a due and wary note upon it. With whispering and most guilty diligence, in action all of precept, he did show me the way twice o'er.
Exist there no other tokens between you agreed concerning her observance?
No, none, but only a repair in the dark. And that I have possessed him, my most stay can be but brief. For I've made him know I have a servant comes with me along, who stays upon me, whose persuasion is, I come about my brother.
'Tis well borne up. I have not yet made known a word of this to Mariana. What ho within? Come forth. I pray you be acquainted with this maid who comes to do you good.
I do desire the like.
Do you persuade yourself that I respect you?
Good friar, I know you do, and have found it.
Take then this your companion by the hand, who hath a story ready for your ear. I shall await you presently, but make haste, the vaporous night approaches.
Wilt please you walk aside?
O place and greatness, millions of false eyes are stuck upon thee. Volumes of report run with these false and most contrarious quests upon thy doing. Thousand escapes of wit rack thee in their fancies and make thee the father of their idle dreams. Welcome. How agreed?
I'll take the enterprise upon me, father, if you advise it.
'Tis not my consent, but my entreaty to.
Little have you to say to him when you depart, but soft and low, remember now my brother.
Fear me not.
Nor, gentle daughter, fear you not at all. He is your husband on a pre-contract. To bring you thus together 'tis no sin, sith that the justice of your title to him doth flourish all deceit. Come, let us go, our corns to reap, for yet our tithes to sow.
Look, here is the warrant, Claudio, for thy death. 'Tis now dead midnight, and by 8 tomorrow thou must be made immortal. Where's Barnardine?
He will not wait.
Well, go. Prepare yourself. But hark, what noise! Heaven give your spirits comfort. By and by, I hope it is some pardon or reprieve for the most gentle Claudio. Welcome, father.
The best and most wholesome spirit of the night envelop you, good provost. Who called here of late?
None since curfew rung.
Not Isabel?
No.
They will then ere't be long.
What comfort is for Claudio?
There's some in hope.
It is a bitter deputy.
Have you no countermand for Claudio yet?
None, sir, none.
As near the dawning, provost, as it is, you shall hear more ere morning.
Happily you something know. Yet I believe there comes no countermand. No such example have we. Besides, on the very siege of justice, Lord Angelo hath to the public ear professed the contrary. Here comes Claudio's pardon.
My lord hath sent you this note, and by me this further charge, that you swerve not from the smallest article of it, neither in time, matter, or other circumstance. Good morrow, for as I take it, it is almost day.
I shall obey him.
Now, what news?
I told you. Lord Angelo, belike thinking me remiss in mine office, awakens me with this unwonted putting on. Methinks strangely, for he hath not used it before.
Pray you, let's hear it.
Whatsoever you may hear to the contrary, let Claudio be executed by 4 of the clock, and in the afternoon Barnardine. For my better satisfaction, let me have Claudio's head sent me by 5. Let this be duly performed with a thought that depends more on it than we must yet deliver. Thus fail not to do your office as you will answer it at your peril. What say you to this, sir?
Who is that Barnardine who is to be executed in the afternoon?
One that is a prisoner 9 years old.
How came it that the absent duke had not either delivered him to his liberty or executed him? I heard it was ever his manner to do so.
His friends still wrought reprieves for him, and indeed his fact till now in the government of Lord Angelo came not to an undoubtful proof.
More of him anon. There is written in your brow, Provost, honesty and constancy. If I read it not truly, then my ancient skill beguiles me. But in the boldness of my cunning, I will lay myself in hazard. Claudio, whom here you have a warrant to execute, is no more forfeit to the law than Angelo, who hath sentenced him. To make you understand this in a manifested effect, I crave but 4 days' respite, for the which you are to do me both a present and a dangerous courtesy.
Pray, sir, in what?
In the delaying of death.
Alack, how may I do it? Having the hour limited and an express command under penalty to deliver his head in the view of Angelo.
By the vow of mine order, I warrant you, let my instruction be your guide. Let Barnardine be this morning executed, and his head borne to Angelo.
Lord Angelo hath seen them both, and will discover the favor.
Death's a great disguiser, and you may add to it. Shave the head. Say it was the desire of the penitent to be so barred before his death. You know the course is common. If anything falls you upon this, other than thanks and good fortune by the saints whom I profess, I will plead against it with my life.
Pardon me, good father, it is against my oath.
Were you sworn to the Duke or to the deputy?
To him and to his substitutes.
You will then think you have made no offense if the Duke avouched the justice of your dealings?
But what likelihood is in that?
Not a resemblance, but a certainty. Yet since I see you fearful that neither my coat, integrity, nor persuasion can with ease attempt you, I will go further than I meant to pluck all fears out of you. Look you, here is the hand and seal of the Duke. You know the character, I doubt not. And the signet is not strange to you?
I know them both.
Bring Barnardine hither.
Here in the prison, there died this morning of a cruel fever one Ragazine, a most notorious pirate, a man of Claudio's years, his head just of his color. What if we do omit this reprobate till you were well inclined, and satisfy the deputy with the visage Ragazine, more the like to Claudio?
The hour draws on, prefixed by Angelo. See this be done and sent according to command.
This shall be done presently, but Barnardine must die this afternoon. And how shall we continue Claudio to save me from the danger that might come if he were known alive?
Let this be done. Put them in secret holds, both Barnardine and Claudio.
I am your free dependent.
Quick! Dispatch! And send the head to Angelo! Now will I write letters to Angelo, the provost, she shall bear them, whose contents shall bear witness that I am near at home. And by great injunction I am bound to enter publicly. Him I'll desire to meet me at the consecrated font, a league below the city, and from thence, by cold gradation and well-balanced form, shall we proceed with Angelo.
Peace, ho, be here.
The tongue of Isabel. She's come here to know if her brother's pardon be come hither. But I will keep her ignorant of her good, to make her heavenly comforts of despair when it is least expected.
Ho, by your leave.
Good morning to you, fair and gracious daughter.
The better given me by so holy a man. Hath yet the deputy sent my brother's pardon?
He hath delivered him, Isabel, from the world. His head is off, and sent to Angelo.
Nay, but it is not so.
It is no other. Show your wisdom and your close patience, daughter.
Oh, I will to him and pluck out his eyes.
You will not be admitted to his sight.
Unhappy Claudio. Wretched Isabel. Injurious world. Most damned Angelo.
This neither hurts him nor profits you a jot. Forbear it, therefore. Give your cause to heaven. Mark what I say, and you shall find in every syllable a faithful verity. The Duke comes home tomorrow. Nay, dry your eyes. Already one of our covent and his confessor gives me this instance. They hath carried notice to Aeschylus and Angelo, who do prepare to meet them at the gates, there to give up their power. If you can pace your wisdom in that good place that I would wish it go, you will have your bosom on this wretch. Grace of the Duke, revenge to your heart, and general honor.
I am directed by you.
Good even.
Friar, where's the provost? Not within, sir.
Oh, pretty Isabella. I am pale in mine heart to see thine eyes so red. Oh, thou must be patient. I am fain to dine and sup with water and bran. I will not for my head fill my belly. One fruitful meal would set me to it. They say the Duke will be here tomorrow. By my troth, Isabel, I loved thy brother. Had the old fantastical Duke of Dark Corners had been at home, he had lived.
Sir, the Duke is marvellous little beholdings to your report, and the best is he lives not in them.
Friar! Thou knowest not the Duke as well as I do. He's a better woodman than thou takes him for.
Well, you'll answer this one day. Fare ye well.
Nay, tarry. I'll go along with thee. I can tell thee pretty tales of the Duke.
You have told me too many already, sir, if they be true. If not, none were enough.
I'll go with thee to Lane's End. If bawdy talk offend you, friar, we'll have little of it. Nay, friar, I am a kind of burr. I shall stick.
Every letter he hath writ hath disvouched other.
In most uneven and distracted manner his actions show much like to madness. Pray heaven his wisdom be not tainted. And why meet him at the gates, and deliver our authorities there?
I guess not.
And why should we proclaim it in an hour before his entering, that if any crave redress of injustice, they should exhibit their petitions in the street?
He shows his reason for that, to have a dispatch of complaints, and to deliver us from devices hereafter, which shall then have no power to stand against us.
Well, I beseech you, let it be proclaimed. Betimes in the morn I'll call you at your house. Give notice to such men of sort and suit as are to meet him.
I shall, sir. Fare you well.
Good night. This deed unshapes me quite, makes me unpregnant and dull to all proceedings. A deflowered maid, and by an eminent body that enforced the law against it. But that her tender shame will not proclaim against her maiden loss, how might she tongue me? Yet, reason dares her no. For my authority bears of a credent bulk that no particular scandal once can touch, but it confounds the breather. He should have lived, save that his riotous youth with dangerous sense might in the times to come have ta'en revenge by so receiving a dishonored life with ransom of such shame. But yet he had lived. Alack, when once our grace we have forgot, nothing goes right. We would and we would not.
My very worthy cousin, fairly met. Our old and faithful friend, we are glad to see you.
Happy return be to your royal...
Many hearty thankings to you both. We have made inquiry of you, and we hear such goodness in your justice that our souls cannot but yield you forth to public thanks for running more requital.
You make my bonds still greater.
Oh, your desert speaks loud. And I would wrong it to lock it in the wards of a covert bosom when it deserves, with characters of brass afforded residence against the tooth of time and razor of oblivion. Come, let the subjects see, and make them know that outward courtesies would fain proclaim favors kept within. Come!
Now's your time. Speak loud and kneel before him.
Justice, O royal duke, veil your regard upon a wronged. I would fain have said a maid. Dishonor not your eye by throwing it on any other object until you have heard me in my true complaint and given me justice. Justice, justice, justice.
Relate your wrongs, in what, by whom, be brief. Here is Lord Angelo shall give you justice. Reveal yourself to him.
O worthy duke, you bid me seek redemption of the devil. Hear me yourself, for that which I must speak must either punish me, not being believed, or wring redress from you. Hear me. Oh, hear me! Hear!
My lord, her wits, I fear me, are not firm. She hath been a suitor to me for her brother, cut off by course of justice.
By course of justice!
And she will speak most bitterly and strange.
Most strange, but yet most truly will I speak.
That Angelo's forsworn, is it not strange? That Angelo's a murderer, is it not strange? That Angelo's an adulterous thief, a hypocrite, a virgin violator, is it not strange and strange?
Nay, it is 10 times strange.
It is not truer that he is Angelo than this is as true as it is strange. Nay, call it 10 times true, for truth is truth to the end of reckoning.
Away with her, poor soul. She speaks in the infirmity of sense.
Prince, I conjure thee, as thou believest there is another comfort than this world, that thou neglect me not with that opinion that I am touched with madness. Make not impossible that which but seems unlike. 'Tis not impossible, but one, the wickedest caitiff upon the ground, may seem as shy, as grave, as just, as absolute as Angelo. Even so may Angelo in all his dressings, carrots, titles, forms, be an arch-villain. Believe it, royal prince, if he be less, he's nothing, but he's more, had I more name for badness.
By mine honesty, if she be mad, as I believe no other, her madness hath the oddest frame of sense. Such a dependency on thing of thing that ere I heard in madness.
Oh, gracious Duke, harp not on that, nor do not banish reason for inequality. Let your reason serve to make the truth appear where it seems hid, and hide the false seems true.
Many that are not mad have sure more lack of reason. What would you say?
I am the sister of one Claudio, condemned upon the act of fornication to lose his head. Condemned by Angelo. I, in probation of a sisterhood, was sent to by my brother, one Lucio, as then the messenger.
That's I, and like your grace, I came to her from Claudio, and desired her to try her grace's fortune with Lord Angelo for her poor brother's pardon.
That's he indeed.
You were not bid to speak.
No, my good lord, nor wished to hold my peace.
I wish you now then. Pray, take note of it. And when you have a business for yourself, pray heaven you then be perfect.
I warrant, your honor.
The warrant's for yourself. Take heed to it.
This gentleman's told somewhat of my tale.
Right.
It may be right, but you are in the wrong for speaking before your time. Proceed.
I went to this most pernicious caitiff deputy.
That's somewhat madly spoken.
Pardon it, the phrase is to the matter.
Mend it again. The matter. Proceed.
In brief, to set the needless process by. How I persuaded, how I prayed and kneeled, how he repelled me, and how I replied, for this was of much length. The vile conclusion I now begin with grief and shame to utter. He would not, but by gift of my chaste body to his concupiscible, intemperate lust, release my brother. And after much debatement, my sisterly remorse confutes mine honor, and I did yield to him. But the next morn betimes, his purpose surfeiting. He sends a warrant for my poor brother's head.
This is most likely.
That it were as like as it is true.
By heaven, fond wretch! Thou know not what thou speak, or else thou art so stubborn against his honor and hateful practice. First, his integrity stands without blemish. Next, it imports no reason that he should with such vehemency pursue faults proper to himself. If he had so offended, he would have weighed thy brother by himself, and not cut him off. Someone hath set you on. Confess the truth, and say by whose advice thou camest here to complain.
And is this all? Then, oh, you blessed ministers above, keep me in patience, and with rape and time unfold the evil which is here wrapped up in countenance. Heaven shield your grace from woe, as I thus wronged, hence unbelieved go.
I know you'd fain be gone. Shall we thus permit a blasting and scandalous breath to fall on him so near us? This needs must be in practice. Who knew of your intent in coming hither?
One that I would were here, Friar Lodowick.
Ah, a ghostly friar belike. Who knows that Lodowick?
My lord, I know him. 'Tis a meddling friar. I do not like him. Had he been lame, my lord, for certain words he spake against your grace in your retirement, I swinged him soundly.
Words against me. That's a good friar belike. And to set this wretched woman here against our substitute, let this friar be found.
But yesterday, my lord, she and that friar, I saw them at the prison. A saucy friar, a very scurvy fellow.
Came I hither to speak true and false. to justify this worthy noble man so vulgarly and personally accused.
Well, let's hear it. Do you not smile at this, Lord Angelo? Oh, heaven, the vanity of wretched fools! Come, cousin, in this I'll be impartial. Be you judge of your own cause. First, let her show her face, and after speak.
Pardon, my lord, I will not show my face until my husband bid me.
What, are you married?
No, my lord.
Are you a maid?
No, my lord.
A widow, then?
Neither, my lord.
Why are you nothing, neither maid, widow, nor wife?
My lord, I do confess I ne'er was married, and I confess besides, I am no maid. I have known my husband, and yet my husband knows not that ever he knew me.
This is no witness for Lord Angelo.
Now I come to't, my lord. She that accuses him of fornication in self-same manner doth accuse my husband, and charges him with such a time when I'll depose that I had him in mine arms with all the effect of love.
Charges she more than me?
Not that I know.
No, you say your husband.
Why, just, my lord, and that is Angelo, who thinks he knows that he ne'er knew my body, but knows he thinks that he knows Isabel.
This is a strange abuse. Let's see thy face.
My husband bids me. Now I will unmask. This is the face, thou cruel Angelo, that once thou sworest was worth the looking on. This is the hand that with avowed contract was fast belocked in thine. And this is the body that did take away the match with Isabel, and did supply thee at thy garden house in her imagined person.
Know you this woman?
Carnally, she said.
Sirrah, no more!
Enough, my lord.
My lord, I must confess I know this woman. And 5 years since there was some speech of marriage betwixt myself and her, which was broke off, partly for that her promised proportions came short of composition, but in chief for that her reputation was disvalued in levity. Since which time of 5 years I never spake with her, saw her, nor heard from her, upon my faith and honor.
Noble prince, as there comes light from heaven and words from breath, as there is sense in truth and truth in virtue, I am affianced this man's wife as strongly as words could make up vows. And, my good lord, but Tuesday night last gone, in's garden house, he knew me as a wife.
I did but smile till now. Now, good my lord, give me the scope of justice. My patience here is touched. I do perceive these poor informal women are no more but instruments of some more mightier member that sets them on. Let me have way, my lord, to find this practice out.
Aye, with my heart, and punish them to the height of your pleasure. Thou pernicious woman, compact with her, thinkst thou thy oaths were testimonies against his worth, and credit that sealed in approbation? You, Lord Aeschylus, find out this abuse, whence 'tis derived. There is another friar that set them on, let him be found.
Would he were here, my lord, for he indeed hath sent the women on to this complaint. Your provost knows the place where he abides, and she may fetch him.
Go, do it instantly. And you, my noble and well-warranted cousin, whom it concerns to hear this matter forth, do with your injuries as seems you best in any chastisement. I for a while will leave you, but stir not from this place till you have well determined upon these slanderers.
My lord will do it thoroughly. Signor Lucio, did not you say you knew this Friar Lodwick to be a dishonest person?
Cucullus non facit monachum, honest in nothing but his clothes, and one who hath spoke most villainous speeches of the Duke.
We shall entreat you to abide here till he come, and enforce them against him. We shall find this friar a notable fellow.
As any in Vienna, on my word. Oh, my lord, here comes the rascal I spoke of, here with the provost.
Very good time. Speak not you to him till we call upon you.
Mom.
Come, sir. Did you set these women on to slander Lord Angelo? They have confessed you did.
'Tis false.
How? Know you where you are?
Oh, great respect to your place. And let the devil be sometimes worshipped for his ever-burning throne. Where is the Duke? 'Tis him who should hear me speak.
The Duke's in us, and we shall hear you speak. Look, you speak justly.
Boldly, at least. But oh, poor souls. Come you here to seek the lamb from the fox? Is the Duke gone? Well, and is your cause gone too? The Duke's unjust. Thus to retort your manifest appeal, and put your trial in the villain's mouth, whom here you come to accuse.
This is the rascal, this is he I spoke of.
Why, thou unreverend and unhallowed friar, it's not enough thou hast suborned these women to accuse this worthy man, but in foul mouth and in the witness of his proper ear to call him villain, then to glance from him to the Duke himself, to tax him with injustice? Take him hence. To the rack with him, we'll touse you joint by joint, but we'll know his purpose. What? Unjust!
Be not so hot! The Duke dare no more stretch this finger of mine than he dare rack his own. His subject I am not, nor here provincial. My business in the state made me a looker-on here in Vienna, where I have seen corruption boil and bubble till it o'errun the stews. Laws for all faults, but faults so countenanced that these strong statutes stand like forfeits in a barber shop, as much in mock as in mark.
Slander to the state! Away with him to prison!
Oh, come hither, Goodman Baldpate. Do you know me?
I know you, sir, by the sound of your voice. I met you in the prison in the absence of the Duke.
Oh, did you so? And do you remember what you said then of the Duke?
Most notedly, sir.
Do you so, sir? And was the Duke a fleshmonger, a fool, and a coward, as you then reported him to be?
Sir, you must change persons with me ere you make that my report. You indeed said so much of him, and much more, much worse.
Such a fellow is not to be talked withal. Away with him to prison. Away with him to prison. Lay bolts enough upon him. Let them speak no more. Away with those giglets too.
What resists he? Help her, Lucio.
Come, sir. Come, sir. Come, sir. Foe, sir. Why, you bald-pated, lying rascal, you must be hooded, must you? Show us your knave's visage with a pox to you. Show us your sheep-biting face and be hanged an hour. Wilt not off?
Thou art the first knave that e'er madest a duke. First, provost, let me bail these gentle three. Sneak not away, sir! For the friar and you must have word anon.
This may prove worse than hanging.
What you have spoke, I pardon. Come you down. Sir, by your leave, hast thou or word, or wit, or impudence that can yet do the office? Hold out no longer.
O my dread lord, I should be guiltier than my guiltiness to think I can be undiscernible when I perceive your grace like power divine hath looked upon my passes. Then, good prince, no longer session hold upon my shame. Let my trial be mine own confession. Immediate sentence then, and sequent death is all the grace I beg.
Come hither, Mariana. Say, wast thou e'er contracted to this woman?
I was, my lord.
Go! Take her hence, and marry her instantly.
My lord, I am more amazed at his dishonor than at the strangeness of it.
Come hither, Isabella. Your friar is now your prince. As I was then advertising and most holy to your business, I am still, not changing heart with habit, attorneyed at your service.
Oh, give me pardon, that I, your vassal, have employed and pained your unknown sovereignty.
You are pardoned, dear Isabel. And now, dear maid, be you as free to us. Your brother's death, I know, sits at your heart. And though you should marvel as to why I obscured myself, laboring to save his life, and had not rather make rash remonstrance of my hidden power than let him be so lost. Oh, most kind maid, 'twas the swift celerity of his death which I did think was slower foot come on that brained my purpose. But peace be with him. That life is better life past fearing death than one that lives to fear. So happy is your brother, so let it be your comfort.
I do, my lord.
for this new married man approaching here, whose salt imagination hath yet wronged your well-defended honor, you must pardon for Mariana's sake. But, as he adjudged your brother, being criminal in double violation of sacred chastity and promise breach, thereon dependent of your brother's life, the very mercy of the law cries out, most audible, even from his proper tongue. Claudio for Angelo, death for death. Haste still pays haste, and leisure answer leisure, like doth quit like, and measure still for measure. Then, Angelo, thy faults thus manifested, which though thou wouldst deny, denies thee vantage. We do condemn thee to the very block where Claudio stooped to death, and with like haste, away with him!
Oh, my most gracious lord, I hope that you will not mock me with a husband.
Away with him to death!
Oh, my good lord! Sweet Isabel, take my part. Lend me your knees, and all my life to come, I'll lend you all my life to do you service.
Against all sense you do importune her. Should she kneel down in mercy of this fact, her brother's ghost his paved bed would break, and take her hence in horror.
Isabel, sweet Isabel, do yet but kneel by me. Lift up your hands, say nothing, I'll speak all. They say, best men are molded out of faults, and for the most become so much the better for being a little bad. So may my husband. Oh, Isabel, will you not lend a knee?
He dies for Claudio's death.
Most bounteous sir, look, if it please you, on this man condemned, as if my brother lived. Let him not die. My brother had but justice in that he did the thing for which he died. For Angelo, his act did not o'ertake his bad intent and must be buried but as an intent that perished by the way. Thoughts are no subjects intense, but merely thoughts.
Your suit's unprofitable. Stand up, I say. I have bethought me of another fault. Provost, how came it that Claudio was beheaded at an unusual hour?
It was commanded so.
Had you special warrant for the deed?
No, my good lord, it was by private message.
For which I do discharge you of your office. Give up your keys.
Pardon me, noble lord. I thought it was a fault, but knew it not, yet did repent me after more advice. For testimony whereof one in the prison, that by private order else should have died, I have reserved alive.
I wouldst thou had done so by Claudio. Bring him hither, let me look upon him.
I am sorry one so learned and so wise as you, Lord Angelo, has still appeared, should slip so grossly, both in the heat of blood and lack of tempered judgment afterward.
I am sorry. That such sorrow I procured. And so deep sticks it in my penitent heart that I do crave death more willingly than mercy. 'Tis my deserving, and I do entreat it.
This is another prisoner that I saved who should have died when Claudio lost his head, as like almost to Claudio as to himself.
If he be like your brother, for his sake is he pardoned. And for your lovely sake, give me your hand. Say you will be mine. He is my brother too, but fitter time for that. By this Lord Angelo perceives he's safe. Methinks I see a quickening in his eye. Well, Angelo, your evil quits you well. Look that you love your wife, her worth yours. I find an apt remission in myself. And yet here's one place I cannot pardon. You, sirrah, who knew me for a fool, a coward, one of all luxury, an ass, a madman. Wherein have I so deserved of you that you extol me thus?
Faith, my lord, I spoke it but according to the trick. If you'll hang me for it, you may, but I would rather it would please you I might be whipped.
Whipped first, hanged after. Take him to prison, see our pleasure here, and execute him. She, Claudio, that you wronged, look you restore. Joy to you, Mariana. Love her, Angelo. I have confessed her, and I know her virtue. Thanks, good friend Aeschylus, for thy much goodness. There's more behind that's yet more gratulate. Thanks, Provost, for thy care and secrecy. We shall employ thee in a worthier place. Dear Isabel, I have a motion much imports your good, which, if you'll a willing ear incline, what's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. So bring us to our palace, where we'll show what's yet behind, that meet you all should know.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kyler Toston. I'm the Executive Artistic Director of Brown Box Theater Project, and I want to thank you all so much for joining us for tonight's performance of Measure for Measure. I would also like to thank everyone at the DCR, as well as the Friends of Herder Park, for hosting and in part funding tonight's event. If you enjoyed what you saw this evening, please help us by spreading the word about Brown Box. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, sign up for our email list at the front table as you leave, and of course, tell friends and family. Word of mouth is our #1 asset as a small company as we strive to break down the geographic and financial barriers that separate audiences from the live professional performing arts. Measure for Measure marks the conclusion of our 9th annual season, and we are all at Brown Box hard at work preparing for year 10. If you would like to support Brown Box in all of our efforts, the actors will be out in just a moment to receive your contribution. You can also donate on Venmo at Brown Box Theater, via credit card at the front of house table on your way out, and on our website, brownboxtheater.org. Every dollar we receive tonight goes directly toward continuing to bring free and affordable theater right back here to your community and to communities up and down the East Coast with little or no access to the performing arts. Thank you all once again for coming. Thank you for your support, whatever form it takes, and we look forward to seeing you next year for our 10th anniversary season. Good night.